Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to episode number
4.
5.
You idiot. No, it's
4.
4.
Episode number 4. Hello. It's a special episode today.
We're in a shed.
We're in a shed.
Not in a weird way.
Not in a
Well,
weird.
it is sort of a weird way.
It's not a euphemism for cottaging. We're in a massive shed. It's really cosy and there's
It's
electric.
really cool because there's like 2 ends.
There's 2 ends. We're in the straight end. We can hear odd noises from down there. But we're in the shed because another group needs... I would say where we usually record it, but we haven't actually recorded a single episode there so far. We're all set up on the stage and everything because obviously this is done in front of a live audience, isn't it, Dom?
Obviously. That's why you can hear them all.
Yeah. So what have you been thinking about this week, Dominic?
I've been thinking about ladders.
Ladders. Ladders, that's spontaneous and cool. No. As in tight ladders.
No.
No. Do you know what my thing is? I don't actually believe ladders exist.
Do you not?
No, I don't. I have in fact made a list.
But how can you not believe that ladders don't exist? I mean...
I've made a list of ladders which don't... of ladders. I've made a list of things I don't believe exist, but the world thinks do. Would you like to have a look?
Yes.
While Dom's having a look, I'll explain. There's about 100 articles on that list, all penned in my neatest hand in the last half hour or so. Anyway, while Dom's going through the list, it's time for me to tell you a little bit about him. He's about 5'4" and full of muscles, and the only way he's ever going to earn money is if he gets his finger out and starts cockfighting, right? Are you okay?
I'm getting quite good at it.
He dresses up as a chicken.
Okay, the 12th of August. Why doesn't that exist, Ed?
I don't believe traffic doesn't exist, because my mother once said 30 days before your birthday, Hitler was born. Well, if you look on that list, I don't believe Hitler existed. And 30 days before my birthday is 12th of August, a.k.a. I didn't believe the day I was born on,
That is clever.
exists either.
There's a lot on this list. I'll just pick a few for people to lick at.
You might be able to hear the wind blowing.
Love, that's pretty deep.
I don't believe love exists.
Maths.
I don't think I wrote maths.
Did you not?
Where are you looking?
Moths. It could be moths.
I've never seen one.
Screenshots.
What are the moths going to do when they get to the moon, Dom?
Oh, well, they're going to set up their own colony.
Are they?
Yeah. Because moths are quite intelligent, really. And they are very good builders.
The moth builders.
The moth builders. They're going to...
I suppose once they start going to the moon, the whole thing will just sort of start mothballing.
That was awful. No, but they're going to build a massive mothball, because that's all they know, really.
All they know. I once met a moth. He told me he didn't exist. That's why he went on the list.
That is genius.
A couple of things. The first thing on the list is America. I don't believe North America exists.
North America.
I've been there.
Right.
But in the same way that Peter went to Narnia, and yet still somehow doubted it.
Yes, indeed.
What can we see in the shed, Dom? I believe, first of all, I'd like to clarify, I believe in everything that's in the shed.
Good.
Myself, Dominic...
It's not some sort of spiritual shed.
That quadriplegic. There is no spirit. I like to say I wouldn't regard myself as a spiritual man. I'm a religious man, but I'm not a spiritual man. So
good.
I believe God's in the shed. That's not a euphemism because that could be taken way out of context.
I'm leaning away from Snappy.
I'm leaning away from Snappy. Shall we have a look around what's in the shed?
Yes.
Okay. There is, up here, down here, we should look... No, fuck it. Right, here we go. Colander?
A big one. Wow.
That's not a colander, Dom.
We are currently looking at a plastic... It's almost like a washing up bowl with holes in that. There's 2 of them.
There's 2. They're inside each other.
I meant that colander over there.
Oh, that's a bad colander.
But colanders, I think, are really clever.
Yeah?
Because the holes, someone had to decide on that hole size. And it's quite a big responsibility. Because they've got to be big enough to let liquid out, but small enough so that they don't let anything else out.
If I wasn't a specialist in this field, Dominic, I'd be totally agreeing with you. But I happen to know, you know a schooner?
No.
Those boats, those little, as I say, you don't have the posture of a man who knows, but you agree. So a schooner is like a little... First of all, we're leaning away from Snappy to begin this topic.
Okay.
A schooner is a little round boat, okay? It's almost perfectly spherical. It's like a bit of orange peel floating.
Yeah.
Now, they were so prevalent in Japan around the beginning of harpooning and whaling.
Right.
And the whales used to throw the harpoons back. They used to go through the bottom of the schooners. Giant colanders.
Yes.
And then when they were sort of sifting out their sushi, because as in, Westerners go gold panning, Japanese people go sushi panning. And they fill up the riverbed. They do that. Shaky. Oh look,
sushi.
a perfectly formed sushi roll.
Then the real question is, what is? I guess I'm really stupid now. Wasabi. That's the green stuff.
Wasabi is like a sauce. And it's the most disgusting thing known to man.
Yeah, but where do they get that from?
I think they milk it from their teats.
So it's not like the silt of the seabed.
Oh no, it's that. Okay. It's definitely that.
Good. Just confirming.
When I was in Japan,
yes,
I stayed with lots of very interesting people, like you know.
Indeed.
For those of you interested, I did the Explore About.
Ooh.
I stayed with the first Japanese man to win Le Mans 24-hour race.
Oh.
Now, this wasn't like pre-arranged or anything. I literally turned up on his doorstep and he let me in. And then we found out about his racing pedigree afterwards. But he took us out to this really nice Japanese restaurant. It was like on top of a hill. It had no doors. It was like evening. We could see Mount Fuji. It was like Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah, and for starters, we looked at the menu. This was about 30 quid in English money. It was a great big bowl of wasabi soup.
Oh.
The only good we hated it, but the only good thing about Japanese culture is when you finish a meal, you put the little lid on top. So we just put the lid on top, and they just thought, "Oh, they're quickies." That was the same trip as we went to an onsen.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, do you want me to tell the listeners about this?
Sure, go ahead.
An onsen is a naked communal bath. Okay, right. The four of us, we were walking in a group of four, stripped down. Three of us have already been naked in each other's company, and we were fairly comfortable. But the third boy, who I shall remain unnamed, he was not very comfortable in his own skin, or indeed anybody else's as soon as he got his finger out. We decided he had to go in first. He drew the short straw. He ran, naked, round a corner, just as a poor 2-year-old was running the other way. His head was exactly the wrong height. He full-on head-butted testicles.
And that is how he got his first blowjob.
Yep, and that is how a 2-year-old in Japan is still walking around with pubes in between his teeth.
I think this is a good time to lean away from
I think it's a good time to lean away from Snappy. Can you regale us with some anecdotes?
Some anecdotes?
It's kind of an anecdote-y themed one.
Okay, well, seeing as we're in the shed...
Aye.
I think we should tell them about the adventures of Indiana Jones in the shed.
I think you should definitely do that from your perspective.
Okay.
Indy.
So, there I was, walking into the shed.
It's quite a long, thin shed. It's like a corridor shed.
And I think we had to get some hoops out or something. It was some bizarre material. So, but they were very high up and at the back. So I had to sort of straddle shelves, like swing between axes.
Well, that's kind of like the floor was completely covered.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We had to like swing off the ceiling. It's like a 3-story shed. It's a 3-story shed.
We
had to swing off the ceiling. It was like abseiling, wasn't it, Dom?
Yes.
And there were those Russians who were like, "You've led us straight to the hoops."
And so once we got past all the Russians,
because they opened the hoops, they were like, "This is a hoop fit for a king."
So
and then they got really old and died.
So we both got to the end. Ed grabbed the hoops, but then the door started closing, full Indiana Jones style, descending slowly.
It had like razors along the bottom.
So we both dashing off, swinging on ropes. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Watch.
We slid underneath the doors, and unfortunately, that's why Dom lost his leg.
But before that happened, Ed got stuck in the shed.
Ed got stuck in the shed, but because Ed was wearing his full body Israeli combat armour, I didn't get crushed. I was like a sardine in a tub.
Indeed. So Ed had to fight his way out the shed. So he grabbed a pole.
A wooden pole, not the nationality.
Good. It was actually metal, but
it was
a pole.
Yeah,
but not one of those poles.
Not one of those poles.
Yeah, and so we started bashing down the door, and that is why.
And the Russians behind me.
And the Russians.
It was like a comedic fashion. I only knew I was bashing down the shed, but whenever they loomed over me with their machete, I was getting them in the eye.
And so that is why we have a new door on the shed.
That's not the real reason we got a new door on the shed. who'd like to know the real reason? Yes, we would. Dominic locked me in the shed, and I got a harpoon and fired out one of the panels. And I didn't tell anyone, and I'm not proud. You're the first people to know, apart from Dominic and Beth. Well, we'd like to also... Oh, I'm sort of leaning away from Snappy.
Good.
But we'd like to apologise for last week's episode.
Would we?
Well, the content is well up to our usual par. We feel that perhaps our
Recording techniques.
I'd like to say Dominic did all he could to keep it level and trim. He did an
did.
excellent job. No one's doubting that. You can't see where my hand is, but it's very affectionately placed. But we'd like to apologise.
Basically, what happened was after the call stopped, my microphone stopped recording.
Aye.
So all the audio of me was captured through Ed's microphone after I'd been blared out of his speaker.
So we had feedback on Dom.
And so that had to be amplified. But I think it worked out fine.
I think it worked out fine. How long are we going to go on for?
I think we're about done.
I think we're about done. So I'm sort of leaning away from Snappy.
So am I. I'm sort of leaning away from Snappy. Sorry.
Goodbye.
Bye.